Seraphim means burning ones or fiery ones, derived from Hebrew and associated with angelic and spiritual qualities. Origin and etymology. The name Seraphim is of Hebrew origin, derived from the word seraphim, which refers to a class of celestial beings in religious texts known for their fervent love and devotion to God. It is the French variant of Seraphina, with related forms including Seraphina, Seraphita, and Seraphim for males. The Hebrew root conveys the meaning, burning ones or fiery ones, symbolizing intensity, passion, and spiritual fervor. NameDiscoveries.com. Religious and cultural significance. X.com/GMA. In the Bible, seraphim are described as angels with multiple wings, often depicted as radiant and devoted to divine service. Naming a child Seraphim carries connotations of spirituality, divine beauty, and ethereal grace, suggesting a person who is radiant, passionate, and deeply connected to their beliefs or causes. In French culture, the name can also imply a purifying or heavenly angel, personality, and symbolism.
As long as we have each other, anything is possible. The moment we enter our happy place. Join the 70th celebration at the happiest place on earth.
Rain comes down in threads like silver metallic pens. Pyramid, prismatic frames are circular, granite garments, bottles, and tonic scale and crosses. Gothic castles, fractured bats fly out of the rafters. Planetary structures, outermost reduction. Submarine, drunken rockets, maiden brain, a glossary of names. Highgate, avant-garde gallery design, retro styles. Swarovski crocodiles on the river made of sapphire and agates. Blind wood into the Remy blue body jewel fire. For my funeral cool, all black gold glass and gown. A slippery tin with hints of shimmering. God bless them. God bless them. God bless them. They belong to heaven's realm.
Angels, royals, saints, and the supernatural. From the seraphim of ancient scripture to the paranormal mysteries of the modern age, a journey through the unseen realms. Content: I. The celestial hierarchy, orders of angels. 2. The seraphim, burning ones of the throne. 3. Angels in royal lineage and divine right. 4. Saints and their angelic encounters. The myths of celestial beings across cultures. 6. The paranormal and angelic phenomena. 7. Supernatural forces, light and shadow. 8. The Seraphim legacy, fire, devotion, and eternity. The celestial hierarchy, orders of angels. Throughout millennia of human spiritual inquiry, one of the most enduring and captivating theological constructs has been the celestial hierarchy, the ordered ranks of angelic beings believed to inhabit the divine realm. This elaborate system of classification, most famously codified by the 5th century theologian Pseudo-Dionysius the Areopagite in his seminal work De Coelesti Hierarchia, on the celestial hierarchy, has shaped Western and Eastern Christian understanding of the heavenly host for over 15 centuries. Pseudo-Dionysius organized the angels into 3 triads, each containing 3 orders, forming 9 choirs in total. This structure reflected the Neoplatonic philosophy of emanation, the idea that divine light cascades downward through successive levels of being, each rank mediating the radiance of God to the order beneath it. The 9 choirs. First triad, seraphim, cherubim, thrones. Second triad, dominions, virtues, powers. Third triad, principalities, archangels, angels. The first triad, seraphim, cherubim, and thrones, stands closest to God. These beings are characterized not by their interaction with humanity, but by their perpetual contemplation of the divine. The seraphim burn with ecstatic love, the cherubim overflow with divine knowledge, and the thrones serve as the living seats of God's justice and authority. The second triad, dominions, virtues, and powers, governs the cosmic order. Dominions regulate the duties of lower angels. Virtues bestow grace and miracles upon the earthly realm, and powers guard against demonic interference, serving as celestial warriors maintaining the balance between light and darkness. The third triad, principalities, archangels, and angels, interfaces most directly with humanity. Principalities oversee nations and great institutions. Archangels carry the most significant divine messages, such as Gabriel's annunciation to Mary, and angels serve as personal guardians and guides for individual souls. This framework was not merely academic. It profoundly influenced medieval art, architecture, liturgical music, and political philosophy. Cathedral ceilings were painted with concentric rings of angels. Kings invoked specific angelic orders to legitimize their authority. Composers structured sacred music to mirror the harmony of the celestial choirs. The hierarchy of heaven was, in many ways, the template upon which human society modeled itself. www.x.com/e-entertainment/status/203328919635463093. The Seraphim, burning ones of the throne. Of all the celestial beings described in scripture and tradition, none captures the imagination with such fierce intensity as the seraphim, the burning ones. The Hebrew word, seraphim, derives from the root seraph, meaning to burn, and these beings are understood as living flames of divine love, consumed by and radiating the holy fire of God's presence. The most vivid biblical description of the seraphim appears in the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verses 1 to 7. The prophet Isaiah describes a transformative vision experienced in the year that King Uzziah died, approximately 740 BCE. www.x.com/vibemagazine/status/20332948612777785881. I saw the Lord high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. At the sound of their voices, the doorposts and thresholds shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. Isaiah 6 verses 1 to 4, NIV. The 6 wings, symbolism and meaning. The 6 wings of the seraphim carry profound theological significance that has been analyzed, debated, and meditated upon for nearly 3 millennia. 2 wings covering the face. Even the highest angels cannot gaze directly upon the full glory of God. This gesture represents humility before the divine, an acknowledgement that even beings of pure fire cannot fully comprehend the infinite. Theologians have interpreted this as a model for human worship, approaching the sacred with reverence and the understanding that God transcends all-knowing. 2 wings covering the feet. The covering of the feet symbolizes modesty and the veiling of one's creatureliness before the Creator. In ancient Near Eastern culture, feet were associated with one's mortal nature. Some scholars suggest feet may be a euphemism for the whole body, representing complete submission and the surrender of physical identity in the presence of the Holy. 2 wings for flight. The flying wings represent divine service and readiness. While 4 of 6 wings are devoted to worship and humility, only 2 serve action, a powerful statement about the proportions of the spiritual life. 2/3 worship, 1/3 service. The seraphim teach that devotion precedes and exceeds action. The Trisagion, holy, holy, holy. The cry of the seraphim, Kadosh, 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 holy, 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 is known as the Trisagion, and it has become one of the most ancient and universal elements of Christian, Jewish, and even Islamic worship. The triple repetition has been interpreted as an affirmation of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, though Jewish tradition understands it as an intensification, the superlative of superlatives, holiness beyond all holiness. The Trisagion was so powerful that it shook the very foundations of the temple. This seismic response to the angelic hymn suggests that holiness is not passive or gentle. It is a force of cosmic magnitude. The smoke that filled the temple parallels the pillar of cloud that led Israel through the wilderness and the cloud that descended upon Mount Sinai, connecting the seraphic vision to the great theophanies of Israelite history. The burning coal, purification, and prophetic commission. Following his vision of the seraphim, Isaiah cried out in despair, "Woe to me! I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips." In response, one of the seraphim flew to the altar, took a burning coal with tongs, and touched it to Isaiah's lips, declaring, "See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away, and your sin atoned for."
Depois,
Clouds of rain,
heard someone?
sparkling plane, Renaissance rays. New way, guns blaze. Sparkling planes. New way, guns blaze. Titans tried us, King Midas returned. Gold bloom in a royal room. Witch broom, potion spoon, metamorphosis moon. Horses aware, nightmare, all is fair in darker layers. Land of peace, wisdom is bleak, not for the weak. Toxic roses turn up noses, dry petal drops of color in morning. Tenderness, sheer rhythm and penance. Vampires, guess who knows the guess? Living dead. Titans tried us, King Midas returned. Gold bloom in a royal room. Witch broom, potion spoon, metamorphosis spoon. Stars fall at noon, a light up clue. Clouds of rain, sparkling planes, Renaissance rays. New way. Horses away. Titans tried us, King Midas return. Gold bloom in a royal room. Witch broom, potion spoon, metamorphosis moon.
Tara Titan, menguži kitara jamidas kembali bunga. Emastiruan kerajan sapu penyer sendo kramuan. Metamorphosis bulan.
Horses aware, nightmare, all is fair in darker layers. Land of peace, wisdom is bleak, not for the weak. Toxic roses turn up noses, dry petal drops of color in morning. Tenderness, sheer rhythm and penance. Vampires guess, who knows the guess? Living dead.
اسب آگاه اسما دیشب همه چیز عادلانه است در لانه های تاریک دور سرزمین صلح تاریک است برای این هفته گلهای رسته میبینی ها را بالا میآورن گلبرگای خوش قطرات رنگ در لطاف توبگاهی ریتم ناب و تو به خون آشام حدس میزنن چه کسی مهمن را میشناسد مرد زنده
Titans tried us, King Midas return. Gold bloom
To all you
in
road
a royal broom. Witch broom, potion spoon, metamorphosis moon.
Feel like
Stars fall at noon, a light up clue. Clouds of rain, sparkling planes, Renaissance rays. New way. Horses aware, nightmare, all is fair in darker layers. Land of peace, wisdom is bleak, not for the weak. Toxic roses turn up noses, dry petal drops of color in morning. Tenderness, sheer rhythm and penance. Vampires guess, who knows the guess? Living dead.
Zirk sapsina morks vis zirk arti batum shakas mit cenjos smjera zeme gotriba i duma nene dega indiga sroze sus grešne gunu sausa sidla pinjas kras piljeni rita majgu mantir zripnut som greku nožela vampiri min kas bazist vies civi miroj
Titans tried us, King Midas return and gold bloom in a royal room. Witch broom, potion spoon, metamorphosis moon. Stars fall at noon, a light up clue. Clouds of rain, sparkling planes, Renaissance rays. New way. Horses aware, nightmare, all is fair in darker layers. Land of peace, wisdom is bleak, not for the weak. Toxic roses turn up noses, dry petal drops of color in morning. Tenderness, sheer rhythm and penance. Vampires guess, who knows the guess? Living dead.
Angels in royal lineage,
divine right and celestial patronage. The intersection of angelic beings and royal authority represents one of the most consequential theological political alliances in human history. From the pharaohs of Egypt who claimed descent from the gods, to the medieval European monarchs who ruled by divine right, the notion that earthly power flows from celestial appointment has shaped civilizations, justified conquests, and toppled dynasties. The concept of the divine right of kings reached its most articulate expression in early modern Europe, but its roots stretch back to ancient Mesopotamia. The Sumerian king list describes kingship as literally descending from heaven. After the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridan. Rulers were not merely chosen by the gods. Authority itself was a celestial substance poured into the earthly realm. In the Hebrew Bible, the angel of the Lord intervenes directly in the affairs of kings. An angel slays 185,000 Assyrian soldiers besieging Jerusalem during the reign of King Hezekiah. 2 Kings 19 verse 35. An angel stays Abraham's hand from sacrificing Isaac, preserving the lineage that would produce King David. The angel Gabriel appears to Daniel with visions of empires rising and falling: Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome, suggesting that angelic beings orchestrate the destinies of nations. Charlemagne, crowned Holy Roman Emperor on Christmas Day 800 CE, cultivated an image of angelic endorsement. The Palatine Chapel in Aachen was designed as an earthly reflection of the heavenly throne room, with mosaics depicting the angelic hierarchy surrounding Christ in glory, and, by implication, surrounding the emperor who sat beneath them. The message was unmistakable. To defy the king was to defy the celestial order itself. The Archangel Michael became the patron saint of numerous royal houses. The French monarchy claimed Michael as protector of France, commissioning the magnificent Mont Saint-Michel as both a monastery and a fortress, a physical manifestation of the fusion between heavenly protection and earthly power. The Order of Saint Michael, founded by Louis XI in 1469, was among the most prestigious chivalric orders, binding the nobility to their king through an oath sworn under the archangel's celestial authority. In Ethiopia, the Solomonic dynasty claimed unbroken descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, with the archangels Michael and Gabriel serving as the empire's celestial guardians. Ethiopian churches to this day feature prominent paintings of these archangels, swords drawn, flanking the Virgin Mary and the Christ child, protectors of both the heavenly and earthly kingdoms. The Kebra Nagast, Glory of Kings, describes how the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Ethiopia by angels, legitimizing the dynasty's divine authority. Joan of Arc's testimony at her trial provides perhaps the most dramatic personal account of angelic intervention in royal affairs. She claimed that the Archangel Michael, accompanied by Saints Catherine and Margaret, appeared to her in her father's garden and commanded her to drive the English from France and see the Dauphin crowned at Reims. Her success in doing so, a teenage peasant girl turning the tide of the 100 Years' War, was either the most extraordinary case of divine intervention or the most extraordinary case of human courage in medieval history. Possibly both. Saints and their angelic encounters, visions, revelations, and miraculous interventions. The lives of the saints are saturated with angelic encounters, visions, conversations, miraculous rescues, and ecstatic unions that blur the boundary between the material and the celestial. These accounts, preserved in hagiographies spanning 2 millennia, form a vast literature of human angelic interaction that is at once inspiring, bewildering, and profoundly moving.
Cherry blossom wine, refined lemongrass, trash, sage, mouthwash, moonlight, twine, plaid inside, see through outside. Sailors in training.
really, all that these things teach you is friendships, relationships, emotional stability, what's important in life, and how you deal with things, how you deal with unexpected things that get thrown at us, adversity, and, conquering difficult situations that we're in. Is it worth me booking myself on every flight every day? No. Fresh tan. Love it.
Oh my God, we are super excited. We are here at the construction site of Sakra.
We can't wait to show
The
you
paranormal and angelic phenomena, where faith meets the unexplained. Paranormal research in the modern era has produced a vast archive of reported experiences that overlap significantly with the angelic encounters described in sacred texts. Apparitions of luminous beings, voices delivering warnings or guidance, mysterious interventions that prevent accidents, unexplained healings, and near-death experiences featuring beings of light. These phenomena challenge the neat boundary between the religious and the empirical, the sacred and the strange. Near-death experiences, NDEs, consistently feature encounters with luminous beings. Research by Dr. Raymond Moody, Dr. Kenneth Ring, and the International Association for Near-Death Studies has documented thousands of accounts from individuals who, during clinical death, report meeting beings of overwhelming light and unconditional love. These beings frequently communicate telepathically, conduct life reviews, and guide the experiencer through realms of extraordinary beauty. While NDEs occur across all cultures and belief systems, the parallels to angelic encounters are striking. The beings of light, the overwhelming love, the life-transforming aftermath, and the persistent difficulty in translating the experience into human language. Marian apparitions at sites such as Fatima, 1917, Lourdes, 1858, and Guadalupe, 1531, frequently involve angelic presences. At Fatima, before the Virgin Mary's appearances, 3 shepherd children were visited by the Angel of Portugal, who taught them prayers and prepared them for the Marian visions to come. The angel appeared as a young man of extraordinary light, hovering above the ground, and left the children in prolonged states of ecstasy. The subsequent solar miracle, witnessed by an estimated 70,000 people, remains one of the most widely attested paranormal events in modern history. Battlefield angels represent a fascinating category of collective angelic sighting. The most famous is the Angels of Mons, a widespread report during World War I that spectral bowmen, later described as angels, appeared between British and German lines during the Battle of Mons in August 1914, protecting the retreating British forces. While initially traced to a fictional short story by Arthur Machen, numerous soldiers independently reported luminous figures and unexplained phenomena during the battle, and the accounts proliferated far beyond Machen's story. Crisis apparitions, appearances of beings, angelic or otherwise, during moments of extreme danger, are among the most commonly reported paranormal experiences. A 2016 study by the Pew Research Center found that roughly 1 in 3 Americans believes they have been protected by a guardian angel at some point in their lives. These experiences typically involve a sudden sense of presence, a voice commanding specific action, such as "stop the car" or "don't board that flight," or the appearance of a stranger who provides crucial help and then vanishes without a trace. Electronic voice phenomena, EVP, and other technologically mediated anomalous experiences have occasionally produced recordings that investigators interpret as angelic communication. While mainstream science attributes these to pareidolia, the tendency to perceive meaningful patterns in random noise, the persistence and cross-cultural consistency of these reports has maintained serious scholarly interest. Supernatural forces. Light and shadow. The supernatural realm, as understood across traditions, is not a realm of uniform light. It contains both luminous and shadowed beings, and the tension between these forces constitutes one of humanity's oldest and most persistent narratives. Every tradition that describes angels also describes their opposites: fallen angels, demons, jinn, asuras, or dark spirits, and the interplay between these forces shapes human spiritual experience in profound ways. The Watchers and the Nephilim. The Book of Enoch, 1 Enoch, a Jewish apocalyptic text dated to approximately 300 BCE and preserved in the Ethiopian Orthodox canon, describes a group of angels called the Watchers, Grigori, who descended to Mount Hermon and took human wives. Their offspring, the Nephilim, were giants of terrible power who devastated the earth. The leader of the Watchers, variously named Azazel or Semiaza, taught humanity forbidden knowledge: metallurgy, cosmetics, astrology, and the arts of war. God dispatched the archangels to imprison the Watchers and cleanse the earth, culminating in the Great Flood.
Rain comes down in thread, exhale metallic pens. Pyramid prismatic frames are circular granite gauntlets, bottles and tonic skeleton crosses. Skeleton crosses. Gothic castles, fractured bats fly out of the rafters. Planetary structures, outermost reductions. Submarine, drunken rock is made in grain, a glossary of names. High gauge, avant-garde gallery design, retro style. Swarovski crocodiles on the river made of sapphire and agates. Blind wood into the remy blue body, dual fire for my fuel. Funeral cool, all black, old glass and gown. A slippery tin with hints of shimmering. God bless them. God bless them. God bless them. They belong to heaven's realm. I'm into hell. You burn into rain. Comes down in threads, like silver metallic pens. Pyramid prismatic frames are circular granite gauntlets, bottles and tonic skeletons. At sea with music boxes, hard and locket lace, lay tropical chains and spirals. Onyx diamonds filled in the watery end, blend between the day and night. Raisin pink auroras blink, a starry blink, celestial and mesmerizing. Eyes early, rain comes down in threads, like silver metallic pens. Pyramid prismatic frames are circular granite gauntlets, bottles and tonic skeletons. Gothic castles, fractured bats fly out of the rafters. Planetary structures, outermost reductions. Submarine, drunken rock is made in grain, a glossary of names. High gate, avant-garde gallery design, retro styles, Swarovski crocodiles on the river made of sapphire nuggets. Blind wood into the remic blue body, dual fire for my fuel. Funeral cool, all black, gold glass and gown, a slippery tin with hints of shimmering. God bless them. They belong to heaven's realm. I'm into hell. Supernatural rain comes down like solar pig hands. Vampiric sin, devil's dead death and bad, a battle between evil and goodness understood. Pyramid prismatic frames are circular granite gauntlets, bottles and tonic skeletons. La lluvia cae en hilos como bolígrafos metálicos plateados. Los marcos prismáticos piramidales son guanteletes circulares de granito, botellas y tónico. Cruces esqueléticas, avant-garde gallery design, retro style, Swarovski crocodiles on the river made of sapphire nuggets. Bind winter is stagnant, nitrogen harvest gel in the darkness, autumn undressed. Crucifixes, unhinged, unwritten, a vision by a vixen. Am I dreaming? Rain comes down in threads, exhale metallic pens. Pyramid prismatic frames are circular granite gauntlets, bottles and tonic skeleton crosses. Skeleton crosses.
Saint Francis of Assisi, 1181 to 1226, experienced the most celebrated seraphic encounter in Christian history. In September 1224, while fasting and praying on Mount Laverna, Francis beheld a vision of a crucified seraph, a six-winged angel bearing the wounds of Christ. As he gazed upon this vision in ecstasy and anguish, the 5 wounds of Christ, the stigmata, appeared on his own body. This event, attested by multiple companions, was unprecedented in Christian history and led to Francis's Franciscan order being called the Seraphic Order. Saint Teresa of Avila, 1515 to 1582, described one of the most famous angelic encounters in her autobiography. She beheld an angel of extraordinary beauty. In his hands I saw a long golden spear, and at its iron tip there appeared to be a point of fire. He plunged it into my heart several times so that it penetrated to my entrails. When he drew it out, I felt that he took them with it, and left me utterly consumed by the great love of God. The pain was so severe that it made me moan several times. The sweetness caused by this intense pain is so extreme that one cannot possibly wish it to cease. This vision, known as the Transverberation, was immortalized by Bernini's sculpture, The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa. Saint Padre Pio, 1887 to 1968, reported lifelong encounters with angels and demons. He claimed his guardian angel acted as translator for letters written in languages he didn't understand, and that other people's guardian angels would visit him bearing their charges' prayer requests. He also bore the stigmata for 50 years and described battles with demonic entities that left physical bruises and wounds. His cell was reportedly heard to shake at night as these spiritual battles raged. Saint Hildegard of Bingen, 1098 to 1179, the great mystic, composer, and polymath, experienced cascading visions of angelic choirs from childhood. Her illuminated manuscript Civias depicts the celestial hierarchy in vivid detail. Concentric rings of fire, wings of sapphire, and figures of light arranged in geometric patterns that eerily anticipate modern fractal geometry. She described the angelic music she heard as the symphony of the harmony of celestial revelations, and composed liturgical works attempting to reproduce these heavenly sounds. Saint Columba of Iona, 521 to 597, the great Irish missionary, was reportedly seen by his monks engulfed in a pillar of light, conversing with angelic visitors on multiple occasions. His hagiographer Adamnan records that angels were seen carrying Columba's soul heavenward at the moment of his death, while a great light filled the church and a chorus of celestial voices was heard by all present. Myths of celestial beings. Julius Caesar's bloody assassination on March 15, 44 BC, forever marked March 15, or the Ides of March, as a day of infamy, across cultures and civilizations. The concept of celestial intermediary beings, entities that bridge the gulf between the divine and the human, appears in virtually every culture on earth. While the Abrahamic traditions gave us the most detailed angelology, parallel beings populate the mythologies of civilizations that had no contact with one another, suggesting that the idea of angels may arise from something universal in the human experience of the sacred. Zoroastrianism, the ancient Persian religion, developed a sophisticated angelology that significantly influenced Jewish, Christian, and Islamic concepts. The Aim Shah Spentas, bounteous immortals, are 7 divine beings emanating from Ahura Mazda, each governing an aspect of creation: righteousness, good mind, divine authority, devotion, wholeness, and immortality. Below them serve the Yazatas, beings of light who protect creation. The entire Zoroastrian cosmology is structured around the battle between celestial forces of light, led by Ahura Mazda, and darkness, led by Angra Mainyu, a dualism that profoundly shaped later apocalyptic theology. Hindu mythology describes the Devas, luminous beings, shining ones, who inhabit the celestial realms and govern the forces of nature. Indra rules the heavens, Agni commands sacred fire, Vayu governs the wind, and the Gandharvas serve as celestial musicians whose melodies sustain the cosmic order. The Apsaras, celestial dancers of transcendent beauty, inhabit the palace of Indra and are sometimes sent to earth to test or tempt sages, a motif paralleling the Watchers of the Book of Enoch. Greek mythology features beings remarkably similar to angels. Nike, the winged goddess of victory, is depicted in art almost identically to later Christian angels. Hermes Psychopompus guides souls to the underworld, paralleling the Archangel Michael's role as conductor of the dead. The daimons described by Plato and Socrates are intermediary spirits between gods and humans. Socrates claimed a personal daimonion guided his actions, much as Christians describe guardian angels. Japanese Shinto and Buddhist traditions describe the tennin, celestial beings who fly on feathered robes, hagoromo, and descend from heaven to interact with humanity. The tenio, celestial maidens, are often depicted in art floating above sacred mountains, trailing scarves that become clouds, playing musical instruments that produce sounds of supernatural beauty. Buddhist cosmology also includes the devas, borrowed from Hindu tradition, and the bodhisattvas, beings of supreme compassion who delay their own enlightenment to guide suffering souls, functioning much like guardian angels. Norse mythology features the Valkyries, choosers of the slain, warrior maidens who descend from Asgard to select the noblest warriors killed in battle and escort them to Valhalla. Like the seraphim, they serve the highest deity, Odin. Like angels of death, they determine the moment of mortal passing. Like guardian angels, they escort souls to their eternal destination. The Norns, who weave the threads of fate beneath the world tree Yggdrasil, parallel the angelic governance of destiny found in Jewish and Christian tradition. Egyptian mythology includes winged protective deities such as Isis, whose outstretched wings shield the dead, and Marat, whose feather weighs the heart of the deceased in the Hall of Judgment. The Ba, the soul depicted as a human-headed bird, flies between the realms of the living and the dead, guided by divine protectors through the perilous passages of the Duat, underworld. Celtic traditions speak of the Aus-Si, people of the mounds, luminous beings inhabiting a parallel world accessible through sacred hills, ancient burial sites, and liminal spaces. Some scholars have argued that early Celtic Christianity integrated these beings into a framework of angels and saints with remarkable fluidity, creating a spirituality in which the veil between worlds remained thin and permeable.